Hey y'all, it's Peter from Wargaming with Peter. I'm gonna do a little set playlist, if you will, of Maurice Lite sections of a scenario I've been kind of toying around with, slices of Kesselsdorf, 1745, I think. Hold on, I will check that date real quick. I should know that at the top of my head at this point, but give me a second. Let's see what's on my. No, it's not on my screenshot of it. Yeah, it was October 18th. No, excuse me, December 15th of 1745. Yeah, I had the year right. Keep getting it messed up with Battle of Fontenoy, which is another I like from the War of Austrian Succession, which is kind of how I got kind of in tune with this. Kind of looked for the full set by Sam Mustafa. Um, of Blucher and LaSalle 2 fame, of course, and Nimitz, um, um, what is the other one? As well as Eisenhower. Yeah, Eisenhower's the other one. I have not played Eisenhower. I've not played Nimitz. Heard good things about both. I love Sam's just overall style and approach to things. Don't always agree with everything, but I always enjoy the games no matter what, right? Sometimes you just gotta kind of lean into it. There are a couple things about LaSalle that are a little annoying, but not, not overly at all. It's definitely, from what I hear, I never played the original, but the second edition is very playable. For me, just in comparison, just in a straight comparison, for some reason, I lean more towards Maurice. I like how it handles things a little bit more esoterically. It's just kind of what I'm looking for a little bit, maybe a quicker game, potentially. It's very it's generally similar to LaSalle 2 in base width and scaling, base width size, distances involved with volley slash canister, which is the short range firing of small arms or artillery. And then bombardment is all the same ranges. Generally the same formations, a little bit less. The infantry don't mass. There are some national um, attribute type cards in the full game that make certain nationalities who utilized mass formations of infantry at this kind of more mid 18th century fighting genre milieu, as we'll say for Maurice's sake. Great game. We're going to be doing the light version of it actually, which is oddly enough free on Sam Mustafa's site. If you go to sammustafa.com or just look up Sam Mustafa, Mustafa, just war games, I'm sure you'll find it. And you go to the download section, you look under Maurice, and there's two things you'll probably want to grab, or actually three. You'll want to grab the rules, the free light rules. While you're there, buy the full rules. I 100% back them, recommend them. It's a good rule set. It's a really solid rule set. I think the PDF's only like 20. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth supporting Sam and all his efforts and so forth. But yeah, get the full. If you like the light, and I think you will, get the full version when you can afford it. And I think you'll have a really good set that can go all the way through AWI, right? Rev War. It also the full rule set allows for more appropriate scaling for the potentially smaller scale American Rev War or AW War of Independence, um, skirmish levels and so forth. Or the larger, Camdens and the larger Kings Mountain, etc. Just things that are Yeah, there's a little bit more flexibility in the full rule set. But other than that, I've been told that the basic cards cover a vast majority, if not all, of the action cards, so you're not really losing out too much. There is a full price. It's a little pricey, quite honestly. Sorry, Sam. The physical cards, which I am gonna get. I own the full PDF. I am gonna get the physical cards at some point just to completely verify, and just so I have them for kind of more of the battlefield formation, form shaping exercises and environmental. Since there's some scouting kind of mixed in there too, that can be card driven as well. But fundamentally, when you're playing Maurice Lite, you're playing Maurice. It's a. I was quite surprised he kind of gave it for free. It's an older set, of course. It's over 10 years old now. I think it was like 2011, 2012 when it came out. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see what 2012 when these were even released as light rules. So interestingly enough, he had released the light version right around the time as the big version. I thought it might have been just a newer one, just kind of resell it, if you will, or kind of resell the benefits of it and so forth. All right, um, so what we're doing here is what I'm calling a slice of Kesselsdorf. This is Saxons primarily, Saxons here who are in an Austrian Saxon kind of alignment, a coalition, right? They are part of the practicalist or pragmatist army, who's backing. Is it Charles the second or seventh? I'm trying. Daughter Marie. I hope I got that right. Yeah, gonna look stupid if I don't, but whatever. Okay. So these are the supporting the Austrian secession, if you will, and the Prussians are vehemently against as such. Basically, everybody in Central Europe who wanted a piece of Central Europe and beyond, potentially, you know, basically Prussia and France. Who else? And then any of their previous allies. So either people stayed neutral, or they went with Prussia and France, or towards Austria, Saxony, Hanoverian, British side, right? So those are the basic kind of split, as well as the Dutch are on this kind of. I generally call these guys the Allies, and these guys the fascists. I guess I don't know. That's a strong word. The anti-secessionists and the secessionists. Not secesh, but secessionists. The Austrians, the people who were supporting the previous Habsburg's emperor's daughter, and then those against it, right? Everybody against it really just wanted a piece of the pie that they were all probably eyeing anyway. And quite honestly, about 10 years after this, right, you end up in the 7 Years' War and all that. I don't want to get into that because quite honestly, I don't know a huge amount about it. But what this definitely helped me kind of start to get into a little bit is the Silesian Wars, right, with Prussia and Austria, and kind of I'd had Rise of Prussia Gold for HOD engine on the computer for a while, and of course I got recently WDS's War of Austrian Secession. I did an article on that for Armchair Dragoons. Great series. The Musket and Pike series is absolutely kicking ass. WAS, or War of Austrian Secession, is definitely one to get. 30 Years War is great. Great Northern War, also all outstanding. And the most recent, the Crusades series, the Sword and Siege series, which is based off the same engine, but a heavily modified version of it, or significantly modified version of it. Musket and Pike is basically WDS is most recent engine. Blah blah blah. Long story short, get every single one of the Musket and Pike series as it comes out. Very good. Out of all the series, it's the one I think utilizes the engine best. Has really good scaling. There's good amount of variety. Or I mean, if you got those 3 games, you'll be playing for a year or more. I'd like to see everybody who bought every one of those 3 games to play every single scenario to at least a minor victory at the with the suggested side, and then come to me and tell me if you didn't get your money's worth, because those damn games are awesome. All right, sorry, I digress. But that's what got me interested in War of Austrian Succession. It got me reading about it. It also indirectly got me reading about the Spanish Succession prior, more towards the turn of the 18th century, which I hope ultimately WDS does. I mean, they had done the Great Northern, which is around the same time as Spanish Succession, but that's kind of a different area, different front, different nationalities involved, different nations involved. All right, let's get into this a little bit. We're just going to start it. I'm going to go till the hour mark here, or half-hour mark ish. See how far I get. Go through a couple, card turns here. All right, so another thing to kind of point out. This Maurice Lite is very simple, but even Maurice itself is relatively simple in how it depicts things. Let's just kind of look at what a unit is. I mean, a unit is normally depicted by, I need to fix this a little bit right here, 4 bases in varying formation, right? This is a line formation, line, these guys, this is a full unit of 4 bases in a cavalry in column formation, okay? Let's see if I had any in mass. Yeah, here's some in mass formation. Here's some Saxon cavalry in mass formation, right? Which is more of a 2x2 for cavalry. Sorry, I pronounced that weird. These are the Austrian Saxon batteries. They have, just to kind of give you a little bit, they have basically a better defensive position. Unknown really how many reserves are coming. Both sides probably have reserves. This is like the front line 1 of the center. Kind of as you can see here, there are additional units potentially for both sides coming in. So see this green line right here. Potentially, I will kind of master this as to whether or not any units kind of leach over into this area of operation. But this is the area of operation. This is the column of operation, and this is like basically the deployment forward line, where, as you can see here, there are potentially reinforcements coming in a second line. I'll be kind of just role playing that part as needed, or as wanting to show some sort of effect. Austrian Saxon side has primarily Saxons here. Double the artillery of the attackers, which was the case day of. They were in a stronger defensive position, very much similar to day of. The objective is for either side to hold this small town here. If you look here, I think we're kind of calling it this town, generally speaking, right? Yeah, that's about it. I mean, technically, that's the objective. Potentially try to push them off entirely would be wonderful. Try to route the line. I'm not going to go too much into the historical actions of this section. I will point out that they do have some good, both sides have a reasonable amount of cavalry coming in. These guys are coming in as, these guys depicted. These guys are coming in mass. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units of mass cavalry here, 4 units of mass here, and 12-ish units of regular infantry here. I had given them battalion numbers, just whatever, and then I stopped because I was kind of sick of the number. I'm doing this basically as 2 games of Maurice side by side. I'm calling this a double wide Maurice Lite. So each of these commanders will have a deck to generate basically their momentum, the equivalent of LaSalle 2 momentum, but it's done a little bit differently, as we'll see here in a moment. I'm going to kind of mix it up as to which. What I'll do is I'm going to do a D6 roll for all 4 commanders, right? And whoever wins that will be the active side for that side of the battlefield, and then the other. So we'll do one action. We'll do one action and then we'll roll who gets to do the first action on this side, do that, and we'll just kind of alternate back and forth and back and forward and front. And I just kind of do it as naturally as it feels. Might occasionally roll. I mean, really, in the game itself, it's stated here. We'll go look. Setup, right? For the light version, simple setup, blah blah blah. Each player rolls a die, and any dies are re-rolled. Any ties are re-rolled. The higher player will set up the board. We're also down here. Dealing when the light game shoot. Both sides get 6 cards. Let's go ahead and just do that because I've already shuffled both of them. Let's just do it again real quick. Okay, and then I'm going to pull the 6 cards for each commander, really. And we'll flip them over here in a minute. Don't really need to look at these yet. We'll look at the one that wins the initiative overall. There's probably a way to deal 6. But whatever, I like to make it feel like I'm actually playing the game on the board. That's how weird I am. Hopefully I'm sharing this appropriately. Yeah. All right, so we're just kind of prepping the initial hand. So the interesting thing about this is based on what you do, you'll get a certain amount of extra cards the next turn. You're always going to have to use a couple, pretty much, 1 or 2, to get something done. You're going to play. All right, let's go back. We'll look at the phasing here as we go to the first one. Let's roll a d6 per. Okay. Let's get these guys going here and see who becomes the first. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So this commander, the right side of the Prussians, gets to go first. Because they're going first, I'll get these guys to go second, and then I'll switch over to this side and have these guys be the B side. This is basically, yeah, they Prussians won on both sides, right? So we'll just do it that way. So these guys will be they're the A player. These guys are the B player. A player, B player. Let's do this side first, and then this side. Okay. So we're going to start over here on the Prussian right. This is what they see. Just kind of give you an idea. Yes, these flags are all over the place. Yes, these are not. These are 7-year war figures. You can yell at me later. I don't care. Yes, the buttons are not the right color. I don't give a crap. We're playing a game. And this is what you can usually see. So you can take your buttons and shove. All right. So again, here's my artillery. Artillery ranges, we might as well take a look at this just in case it comes into effect. Shooting. I'm surprised it's not on the quick board. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, just again, as I said before, the volley range, which we'll make a call for here in a moment, is 4 base widths. I'm doing base widths of 2 inches. Okay. Yeah, I think they're actually about a 1.5 or more here, but I'm just going to go with a nice rounded 2-inch range of fires right here. So it's 32 inches then, right? So 16. So from 8 inches to 32 inches is a bombardment for the artillery. So let's just take a quick look at that to kind of give you an idea how far that needs to be. So let's go look at 32. We're not, we got nothing and not even, so we're going to probably have to limber these guys and move them over if we want to get them involved in the action for bombardments. So just keeping that in mind. Let me go look at that real quick, how they handle lumbering. Can't remember. Open terrain is 6 base widths. See if it mentions artillery. Oh, there it is right there. Artillery units may always move in any direction regardless of where they're facing. They do not wheel. Their movement allowance is constant regardless of direction. When artillery shoots, it must be marked with smoke. The smoke marker may be removed by activating it specifically for that purpose as a march, just to remove the smoke. For example, if a player fires canister with his artillery in the volley, he then marks the bases with smoke. He may activate the artillery force to march in that same round, but doing so only removes the smoke marker. In later round, assuming they don't shoot again, he may then activate a march, at which point they may move. So no matter what, assuming they don't shoot again, he may activate it for a march. Or, yeah, okay. So in other words, you got to get through this. You got to basically, okay, so there's a timer involved there, right? So we're not firing them anytime soon. So if I activate it for a march, I can go ahead and march, right? Because they haven't been fired. But as soon as you fire, you basically have to burn a turn before they can either fire again or move or move. So something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the movement of the artillery. Excuse me, the cavalry as well. Units strictly limited to only 4 kinds of movement. They may move directly forward. They may move backward, retro, and they may wheel while moving either. Okay, so then the wheeling is just there's no special cost. It's just kind of factored in the physical. See, they do the physical distance of. I like how they do this. So they do it by this, the distance of the wheel, not any numbers of degrees, which is kind of nice. 600 ideal. So artillery can either go 6 in the open or 2 by way of any. No longer. Okay, he wants. Artillery unit begins the round near the enemy. You may move it as long as it ends no longer near it. Okay, that's kind of nice. Artillery units do not acquire disruption when moving through difficult terrain. However, if you will move through any different, it's limited to 2. So that's nice. That's a pretty good kind of compression of those rules. So let's just do one action for now for both the Prussians and the Austrians, just very quickly as much as we can. All right, let's flip these bad boys. And then we do need to flip the other guy because he might have some interruptions. Let's just do that, and we will see what we have. We have the Saxons over here have a heroic rally, thick smoke, caisson depleted. Okay, well that's suffer a -1 hit. So again, some of these are interruptive. Whiff of grape, artillery units on this side. Okay, so that's nice. Deadly fire, -4 shooting by regular. Okay. So I don't see any interrupt on. All right, so thick playing this as a modifying card for a volley phase causes your opponent's units to avoid -1. So you would do this if they were close enough to do a volley. Yeah, but I don't see anything otherwise interrupting for movement, so we'll just be moving. We are not within any volley distance, so we are going to either. So there's 2 things. Let's go to the rules about this, what we can do. Play in action. Most commonly, the active player will choose to play in action. There are 4 types of actions: charge, march, rally, and bombard. The active player chooses a single force, declares that he will activate it to do one of those actions, and then plays the appropriate card to activate it. A player may not choose an action if there is no way for his army to do it. Draw new cards. This is the kind of neat thing. This is the neat thing. Based on what you do, you get a certain amount of draws. The active player declares his command choice for the round. Then, if eligible, he draws more cards from the deck. He then carries out his choice. He may use cards that he just drew as part of the activity. Oh, interesting. So once you declare it, you actually get the card. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so then there's the activation. Let's see what else is right before that. The basics of play, though, is you have a volley phase, command choice. After resolving, he may pass, he may play an event, or he may play an action. So let's look at some of these events. So in other words, you're either playing it for this base width of activation right here, and all you need to do is get to a unit in that formation, quotation marks, and the formation just has to be of the same type, of the same formation. So basically all of these, so this would be a formation because they're within 2 base widths of each other. They're the same, they're cavalry, and they're all in mass, right? If one of these was in line or one of them was in column, then that wouldn't be included with the other 3, etc., right? Artillery is just, it is its own formation here if it's within 2 base widths, so very similarly in that regards. So what's interesting here is I've kind of cut this into, it's probably not the greatest idea here, right? So I really probably should have had these, whatever, it is what it is. This is the setup for, this is the way that the disposition that started the battle here. So the commander's choice here, the player agency here, here's the commander. So, and so as long as my original intention was that these guys were close enough to be a full formation. Let me fix that a little bit because I think, let's just check these. So these guys need to be within 4 inches of each other in there. Okay. Again, so this is a formation right here, and they're definitely, the commander is close enough to command these guys as such. Okay. So let's just use one of the 4s as I'm going to be marching. So when I do a march, I get 1 card pulled. So I do this, I flip it, and then I can actually use it this turn, potentially, to bridge to a command. So what you normally would do, so I'm going to eat either one of these or more than one. This one is ridiculous right here. When played as an event, this card automatically activates any one force on the active side anywhere on the table. So leave them of any length to that force. Okay, so no obstructing, as long as you don't have obstructing. So this is a very interesting one here. Don't really need it right now, but so I'll hold that. So what you can do is you can actually daisy chain these. So if for some reason I needed to go 16 base widths to command a particular unit, I could do that with 3 cards. I don't need to do that though. So I'm going to burn a card to march, but which one do I want to burn? Do I want to have a? I don't want to keep this one for its event. So what's cool is that these. So this is a specific event. This E. Let me go just verify that real quick. An event card has an E. The only event card I have is that one. These are when they can. These are modifying cards, and they can be used as such during that phase. And that phase is described. Let's see if it's on here. No, but it's right here. So Any of these modifications can come into play as long as it's still in your hand. I'm depicting it in my hand back here. I'm burning this one. I'm discarding this one for its for its distance, for its spanning effect of being able to order, right? Go make sure that's a span. Yeah, span. If played for activation, this card has a span, okay? And the span is in base widths, and that's the distance between the commander and the unit, the overall formation, quotation marks, that you're commanding, right? This is a different command, not only because I have it depicted with a different commander, but because it's over, I think it's over 4 inches. Yes, see? Um, well, over, is that base width? Let me just double check that. Be down a minute. Yeah, base width. hmm Okay. Just wanted to double check that was base width. All right. Makes sense that it is, but this just want to make sure. All right. So then, so all these guys can move. All right. And there's no, as far as, there's no difficult terrain here. We could, I mean, you don't want to go through that, but as long as they don't go over that, they won't disorder. So as long as they kind of go like that, we'll be fine. Um, I'm not going to get too iffy on the interpenetration here. They'll be able to kind of scoot around there. Now I'm checking the distance though. Infantry and mast or line can go 4 base widths, so we're going to go 8 inches. All right, so roughly there. So it's there. It doesn't really move at that point yet. There's a flag as well for the hell of it. All right, so that's that. Now again, if there was a modify march action all active units that move this round may interpenetrate. Okay. Um, I mean, technically, we probably interpenetrated that a little bit, but I'd have to burn this. So again, you look at the symbol to see when you could modify things with it, and it's usually a modifier of yourself or it's a modifier of the enemy. And that's about it. I mean, that's the game. Because I had done a march, I had drawn one, and what's interesting is, um, yeah, play cards whose span is greater than equal distance, greater than the distance to the CNC. Span is greater than or equal to the distance. Whose span is greater. Okay, and you're just going to the force, the nearest unit of that force. When you play an event, you don't get any draws. Um, and what's kind of neat, what I really like is you have the choice of the volley right here. Let's read that again. The active player begins the round by declaring whether or not there will be a volley phase. If he opts not to have one, then there will be no small arms or canister in this round. If he does invoke it, then eligible active sides will fire and eligible passive side units will return. So again, I'm doing this as AB, and then I'm going to do AB. So I'm going to do AB player. So if I don't declare any volleys, then they don't volley back, but immediately when they take over, they can volley if they choose to, in which case I can volley back. It's a very fluid game. We'll get a little bit more into it in the next session. So that was just kind of one turn example, and I'm going to go ahead and end it there.